Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Have you ever wondered what are the mechanisms to cope with loss of autonomy? This show will help you and your loved ones find peace and resilience in the most difficult situations. Hello and welcome to this episode of A Woman's Prerogative. I am Reverend Lydia Fougères and my co-host is Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. So you can subscribe to our shows on USA Global TV and Radio on YouTube, and Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck's show on USA Global TV and Radio also on YouTube. So thank you, Dr. Kerbeck, for joining. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'm interested in exploring this topic with you. And I thought it might be a great place to start if we actually describe what autonomy meant to us.
Yes, that is what autonomy. Autonomy, to me, means being able to do the greatest amount of tasks on our own, and if not, having help doing them. What does it mean to you?
Well, I think you think of autopilot, doing things on your own. So to me, it means another level of independence, really. And knowing that we don't know everything, and sometimes we do have to ask for help.
Yes, you're absolutely right. I talk in an aspect of a registered nurse. We have a model as registered nurses. We have a model, and it's called the Virginia Henderson model, and it works on 14 fundamental needs that every person should be able to achieve. And when we are not able to achieve those needs, we need help. So that is the way a nurse sees a human person. So what do you think about our way of looking at people?
I've actually never heard of this. Can you share what some of those 14 metrics are?
Well, those 14 metrics are not very complicated. They have to do with eating, breathing, practicing your religion, walking, taking care of your hygiene, so on and so forth. So you have 14 of those needs that you have to be able to achieve. And when you are a nurse, what you do is that you make a plan. When it comes to your patients, what you do is you make a plan on how many needs are achieved, and the ones that are not achieved, you help your patient achieve those needs. So you will make a plan to help them achieve the need for them to have the most independence as possible. So you will just help. You will not do for them. So that is the way we work with patients.
It sounds an awful lot to me like long-term care. I know there are 7 criteria, which if you're unable to feed yourself, I think clothe, bathe, toileting, all of those things, then you actually move into a different category where you need some support. You might have to be in an assisted living program.
Yes, exactly. That is it. So a person, when we want to help a person achieve autonomy, well, we need to assist them in some of those needs, and we actually place them in a certain category. And when they can do things, they are scored into points. So we score the many points, as many points as possible, and whether they have so many points, that is where we will actually send them to different places, or we will send different people to help them, assist for their well-being, or to help them die in a humane way.
Yes, I understand that. In fact, I just went through something like this with a family member, and it's basically here in the States, my understanding is when you have certain health conditions, there may be an opportunity to look at something called palliative care, where it's about helping the patient, providing them with some type of options, not just to make them feel better, but possibly to help with whatever the situation is. Whereas then the next stage is hospice, where there's nothing done to help continue the person's life. It's basically about keeping them comfortable, for example, with morphine.
Exactly. That is exactly the way it works. And it is a very good way of seeing things, but it is not always an easy way for the person and the family members. So I am very sorry for what you went through, because it is very difficult. I know, and I do understand. And you went through a lot. We understand that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I think knowing what I know now when it comes to doing home hospice or keeping the patient, your loved one, in their home, it is very difficult. I don't know that there's anything that I could actually compare it to, as opposed to when your loved one is in a hospital, in a treatment facility, maybe they're in hospice. And it's really a very difficult decision to make, because when someone is not in their home, and if you've ever been to a hospice facility, it's not very uplifting. And maybe you might have 6 months left to live, or whatever the case is, and you're in a surrounding where literally everyone is dying. And there are cases, obviously. We have a team member here who was on hospice and came back and showed them all, so to speak. But doing home hospice, you are responsible pretty much for everything. And in the US, different states have different laws about what other people who are coming in from the outside, nurses, for example, what they can do and what they can't do, and then what the family members and the loved ones actually have to do. And it is not for the faint-hearted, I can tell you that much. So while the trade-off might be that you keep your loved one at home, you are the one who is bathing them. You are the one who is toileting them. If they might have to be on bed pads, then you have to worry about them getting bed sores, and you have to worry about them sliding in the bed. And there's so many things that have to be done, that I really feel like in some cases you have to be a superhuman being, just in terms of the amount of physical and mental strength that you have to have, as opposed to putting them into a facility where you have experts who are doing whatever it is. But at the same time, you might have loud beeping machines, people coming in, waking you constantly. And so it's not an easy situation when it comes to end of life.
You are right. And you are glorified for having done what you have done, because it is extremely difficult, very, very difficult. So you are one of the rare people that does it. It is cultural also. Some cultures, they keep their loved ones at home, and other cultures, they do not. But it is cultural. but you made a choice that was difficult, and you have all my admiration for doing so.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. It was a family decision, and it's what the person wanted. So I think for each and every one of us, one day we're going to be facing something similar, whether it's ourselves or someone else. And I think what's really important is that many times we don't actually think about how do we want to spend the last chapter of our life. And if we are ill, if we do have sickness, which most of us do at some point in our life. Do we have the money? Do we have the insurance? What are the resources that we actually have? If we want to be at home, do we have people who will take care of us? Not everyone does. And not every family has people who are like, okay, I'll sign up. I'll sign up to be the one who will do the full-time caregiving. Sometimes people are like, listen, I'm going to put so-and-so into a home and let someone else take care of it. So-and-so has the money. We'll get the best resources that we can to take care of so-and-so, but we're not leaving them at home. So I think it's something that we need to think about because it's going to happen.
Exactly. And you have a lot of merit because it had nothing to do with the money. You really had the means to actually bring your loved one in a home, and you did not. So you really made the choice to do such a journey. So the fact is that even if you had the means, you still chose the hard way. That is why you have so much merit. This
Well,
is
thank
this
you.
is something amazing, really amazing. But when you think about it was your mother that you took care of, and you were with her during the COVID. So could you talk about what happened during the COVID when you were with your mother? Do you mind?
No, I'm happy to. So my mother was a very healthy person. She played competitive tennis until she was 80. And then the pandemic hit and she was feeling unwell, and she thought maybe she had a cold or the flu or something, and so she went and got checked and she had the flu. And up until then I had been visiting her pretty much every 3 or 4 weeks, and we were very close. And I was in New Jersey and she was in Florida, and the state of New Jersey got locked down, and so we weren't able to go anywhere. So I didn't see her for a few months, and I would call her, FaceTime her every day. But I noticed that she was starting to lose the energy that she had. And I think she was afraid. I think she was afraid being by herself, at that age. And she had friends, very close friends for 60 plus years who lived next door. And everybody seemed to be handling the pandemic in a different way. And then when we were able to see each other again, she had definitely changed, and she seemed to be very much afraid. And she would say quite often, well, I'm glad I'm just here for another day. And so it became clear there was something going on with her. And we knew that her memory was not what it was. So I moved in with her. And at the same time, I had just retired from my corporate career. And so I was going to be doing life coaching. I got certified to teach life, career, and executive coaching. And so now I'm in a home with my mother, whose memory is failing. I am starting this business on television. And then I also had one of the worst ulcerative colitis attacks I've ever had. I was wearing diapers at the time. And it was a lot. It was actually a lot to deal with. And so I'd be broadcasting sometimes 10 hours a day, standing on my feet. And I just looked at it as though I had a higher calling, and it wasn't about what was going on with me. It was for me to take care of my mother, and then for me to provide a place for people to share their stories. And so as the time went on, my mother's memory got worse and worse and worse. And it was probably the most heartbreaking thing when you have your best friend who is completely confused about a lot of things. And this person was out on the tennis court beating 40-year-olds, a year and a half before. So we were together for, I guess, 3 years. And then it became clear something else was going on. And it seemed like she was having a hard time keeping food down. It was actually on July 4th. And we went to the doctors, and it turns out that there was some kind of cancer that they didn't know what it was. And so my sister and myself, we did home hospice for the last month. And that is not for the faint of heart. That's what I was talking about earlier. It is what you have to witness that happens to a person. I really, I'm sure people see it. It's just when you don't have the training, you don't even know about how to lift the person. You have to lift people certain ways. And so there were a lot of things that happened during that month. I had been sleeping in the same bed with her every night. And then it got to the point where it didn't make sense because she was very confused. We had to put rails up on the beds, and she fell out of the bed. And anyway, I continued working during the whole thing, and I will never forget this as long as I live. We had a show on, it was the corner bookstore, and I just had a feeling that this was the day, because everything that had been happening on a Thursday, and Thursday is our busiest day. So the first Thursday, I had to take her to the emergency room, and she was not happy about going, but we went. And I was actually producing TV shows while she was in her hospital bed. And I would turn the camera to her, and the people that, were on the show, they were like, "Oh, hi, Mrs. Kerbeck." And then the next week we went to palliative care, and the doctor told her that she was dying. And then the third week, the hospice people came in. And so now it was the fourth week. And so I was producing the corner bookstore, and I said to the host and the guest, I said, "Please try to stay on time, because I just have a bad feeling." So my sister and I had our app on our phone with the camera. So there was a camera, we had an app that we could see. So I was upstairs, my mom was on the middle floor, my sister was downstairs. So we're both watching the camera. So I'm producing the show, and the show's running over, and I'm typing into the chat, "Please close out the show, please close out the show." So literally during the show ran over by 8 minutes. She died while I was producing the show, and I watched it. It was not an easy thing. And I kept broadcasting the rest of the day. I don't even think I took a day off, because I'm running a business, but it was a very painful thing. And I wouldn't want to do the home hospice again. If I was asked to do it, I guess that I would, but I'd have more knowledge now about what to expect.
That is really, really brave. This is a very brave story. Wow. This is amazing. This is really amazing. You working, being ill yourself, doing all this, and not even being able to leave the show when it was supposed to be, because it was going over its time. I am at loss of words, actually, because it is very moving. I have to admit, it is very moving what you went through, and you have our admiration. That is for sure, Dr. Kerbeck. You have our admiration, and we offer you our sympathies also, because, it is always something that has to be done. But when you actually started doing this, what did you start by doing? You took micro decisions. You started by taking micro decisions with your mother. So how did you adapt with those decisions? Because you had to start by micro decisions to start with.
Yeah, well, I think part of the challenge was knowing where she was. So even though we were in the same house, she didn't want to be sitting with me when I was broadcasting, and she loved to watch tennis on TV, the tennis channel. So she might watch tennis for hours, but she loved to walk. So she could walk, even when she was 81, 2 or 3, she could walk 3-4 miles, no problem. And so we gave her an air tag to put into her wallet and her shoe, and she would find it and she would take it out. And I'll never forget this. I was broadcasting, And I got a text message. I usually have my phone nearby, but it's always on Do Not Disturb. But somebody kept texting me, and it was a neighbor. And the neighbor just wrote that, I think I saw your mom walking along the highway. There's a major highway where we were. And so she had gotten lost. And I had to say to the people that we were doing the show with, keep going. And I'll monitor the show while I'm driving. Have to pull over and look. And so I tried calling my mother, and she lost her hearing in one ear, so she couldn't hear the phone anyway. So she had no idea where she was. And when I finally found her, I don't know who was more scared, her or me, because it was probably 95 degrees outside. She had no water. She didn't know where she was. And it was upsetting. So then the decision was, can we let her out of the house? And, you hate to do that, because first I'd say you can't drive anymore, like all these things that you can't do. And a person's life starts getting smaller and smaller, and they don't actually understand what's going on because they don't remember. They remember how it used to be. And I think what's so interesting is one of our team members, Tracy Cram-Perkins, she's written a book called Dementia Home Care Before, During, and After. And she also talks about the brain, and the brain that has dementia or Alzheimer's, it has these holes in it, and the holes are where the memories were. And so sometimes they just don't remember things. And she didn't remember that she got lost. Another time she left the house and she had taken the tracking things out of her shoe, and it was a beautiful day. And all of a sudden it started pouring. It was torrential rain. I mean, like driving rain, like you can't even imagine. So then I had to drive around looking for her, and the poor thing was like underneath an awning shivering. And, you look at somebody who was so strong and powerful with a two-handed backhand, ripping it across the net. And now you see what's happened. And so it started with little decisions, and then it started with bigger decisions, getting power of attorney, and making decisions about how she was going to be spending the rest of her time. And it's just hard. So what I'd like to say is, for everybody out there, have a living will. Let people know what it is that you want. Let people know, because you never know when it's your last moment. So I don't want to leave a mess for anyone to have to clean up. In other words, financially, personally, the way you're living, like try to keep things organized and written down so that it's easier for the person who's got to come after you to take care of cleaning up your life, closing out your life, really.
Exactly. And what do you think about assistive devices? What do you recommend for a person that actually is losing their autonomy? What would you recommend as a device? All kinds of devices. There are all kinds of devices. What do you recommend to start with?
Well, I'm not an expert in this area. I just know Tracy Cram-Perkins, she's had on a lot of people that have different platforms where they provide services, a special phone that only calls certain people. I think that's one of the things that also I realized is there's a lot of scam phone calls that people start making. And when you are older, at least what I've seen from my own observation, you can be lonely. I mean, you can be lonely at any age, and somebody calls you and they're nice and they act like, they have all the time in the world, and they really want your social security number and they want your banking information. So one of the things that you have to start doing is take control of the phone. You might have to take if you still have a landline, you might have to take the landline out of the wall. You might have to give them one of those devices, I've fallen and I can't get up. And you might have to make the room so that it's a safe place for them to be, because also as we get older, we can trip and fall, we can break a hip. So living on one floor can be a much more effective way of living, as opposed to having a long staircase and people fall down the stairs. So I think you have to make your home friendly for as you get older. And if you're making a decision to move somewhere, think about, if I'm going to live here for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, would I be able to live here by myself? So think about the future And then also another thing is medications. As we get older, typically we need more medications and then we forget what we've taken. I know for myself, I don't take a lot of medication. I take 3 for blood pressure and then I take for ulcerative colitis. And so I have them in a bag and I'll take them out of the bag, the 3 bottles. And then as I take them, I put them back in the bag. So this way, because sometimes you get a phone call, you're doing something, you're like, oh, did I take it or not take it? And as you get older, that makes it worse. So start to have a plan to keep yourself safe. And then realize if you don't want someone changing your diapers, if you don't want someone in a care home to take care of you, you've got to think about the choices that you're making with your life right now. And that means, are you making healthy life decisions? And healthy life decisions are, what are you eating? What are you drinking? What are you inhaling? What is your environment like? And if there are things that you want to do and you haven't done them, please do them. If there's something you want to buy to make yourself happy, please buy it. And if there's things in your life that actually bring you joy, why not continue doing them? So it's funny, this is unrelated, but I have a new book coming out and it's called, I don't think I have a picture of it here, but it's called Stop. Here it is, actually. Why Knowing Isn't Enough. And just a quick digression. Many times we know what's right for us, but we don't want to actually do what it takes because we're afraid or it seems overwhelming. And so I look at it like this. I'm 63. If I'm lucky, I've got 25 years left. So with the 25 years I have left, I'm going to do what it is I want to do. There's very few things that I don't want to do that I do. I do what I want to do. And so if it brings me joy, I don't think about the money. I think about what is it that's going to bring me happiness, and that's what I'm doing. And the things that don't make me happy, I don't pay that much attention to them because I look at it as though it's draining from my energy. And draining from my energy is never a positive thing. So I've gone off on a tangent, so I apologize.
Oh, no, it's okay. It is okay. No, when it's interesting, we listen. That is, so you do, so I don't, as I understand, is that, you're the things that are draining the whole thing because, we have so many, because we are the same age. So the thing is that, we actually have to do what we like. I am a person like that also. I do what I like for most. And I do live in a way where people do not understand very much my way of living. And I never actually smoked or drank or did any things like that because it never attracted me. It never did. But I have to admit, I take a glass of wine once in a while. I do. That is something I do. But more than that, and I exercise. I do exercise. So the thing is that that's very important for me. And I did yoga all my life, just like you. So that is the important thing. But when we actually are in loss of autonomy, we actually can go into our community, and our community can assist us in our home, which is really helpful. We can have, here in Canada, we have, they call it the CLSC or whatever, so we are nurses that go into people's homes and we assist people in their homes. So we help them, we give them their medication, whatever. But the problem is that when we go and we assist one person, there are more than one person in the home. So when you do not have a case as such that is part of the home, it can come up to be sometimes a disastrous case, or it can be a funny case. I have this case that I will tell you about because things really happen sometimes that it's part of the job, but at the same time, we see things in our job as nurses at home that people just do not imagine that we see. So I was assigned a case for a man where I was doing the blood work every single week, and his wife needed a lot of attention. So the thing is that I was going for the husband. So I was doing the blood work every single week. Needed and he was losing autonomy. So my focus was on that man, not on his wife. I was listening to the wife, but not really taking care of the wife. But she needed attention. I understand she needed attention. So to make a story short, she was telling me that she had problems with her bowel movement. And the thing is that she started pulling out all the cereals on the counter and this and that. And I was trying to listen to her, and she was a very small woman, something like 90 pounds, very small woman. And I was trying to listen to her, taking care of the man and taking care of her. And all of a sudden, my visit had to end because we have so many minutes that we can go there. So my visit was coming to an end. And then I was saying, sorry, Mrs., I will put you on the list and I will come back and I will have two patients in this house. But when I was trying to get out of the house, she pulled on my legs and I had to drag her all along the corridor, and she was screaming and was
Oh my,
dragging her to get out of the house.
oh my
Oh my God,
gosh.
it was Mrs. And I was really trying not to hurt the lady. And you have no idea, all kinds of scenarios happen as a visiting nurse. We have all those kinds of things. We have happy things, and we have weird things happen to us, and we have the sad things also. We have very sad things happen. So the thing is that being a visiting nurse to someone that actually is in palliative care is difficult because we have to cope with different families all at the same time. And they go through different stages, and members of the family go into different stages also. So, when you went through the stages, did you have visiting nurses that were seeing you?
Not until the last week. Not until the last week, because part of the healthcare in New Jersey, if it's home hospice, they will not administer any drugs. There's a very set limit of what they will do and what they won't do. And I understand in some other states in the US, there are a different set of rules. But so we were given a box, and in the box, I think there were 4 drugs, and we had to administer the drugs. And by the way, you would probably only administer the drugs when the patient is screaming in pain. And to witness someone you love absolutely screaming and moaning and whatever the case may be, you have to decide, is it time for the morphine? Is it time for this? I forget what the other one is with a D. And there were suppositories. So you have to decide. They're not going to do that. And then the other thing is where you really can use a nurse, or you have to bring somebody in. You might even have to pay for someone from private to help the person go to the bathroom, because they've got to get out of the bed. And many times they can be so weak that they can't do it, and they could trip and fall. And that's a whole other thing. If a person falls and breaks a hip, then, let's say they're in palliative care, that could set them right to hospice. I mean, if you break a hip, it's very hard to recover from that, especially when you're frail and already dealing with other situations. But we only had help for the last week, I believe.
That is very difficult because here in Canada, it's quite different. There is healthcare. There is, we have a healthcare service here, and it's very good. Actually, we do not let the families deal with themselves like that. we offer support, and we offer the medication. We go and we give the medication, we help, and we do not let people moan and scream, and we do not let that happen. And we practice assisting in dying for a person, but they have to be less than 6 months. It has to be less than 6 months. Well, that my doctorate is on that also. So it has to be sure that they will not live more than 6 months to actually do it. So what happens is that, there are different states, here we have different provinces. The rules are different, but the idea is pretty much the same. So this is the advantage. And here we are not very strong on private insurance. So most people have the same thing. So it really is the way it works here in Canada. And I have to admit, I'm very happy with the way it works. And that is a very important thing, because, it protects us, and it protects our choices. Because as you say, it's not easy for the family to decide, and you suffered from having, it's a trauma actually to have that medication that you give it, like the Superdol. Do you give it? Do you not give it? Because the thing is that it's going to help them, but do you give it or not? Because
you could be giving something that's going to be the end. It's going to stop their breathing and it's going to be over. Yeah, it's not capricious. It's not just for anyone to just, a lot of thought has to go into it. So what I really want people to take away from what I'm sharing today is that while you are of sound body and sound mind, take care of doing some of these things so that other people know what it is that you want, and do whatever you can to take care of yourself. Keep yourself in good shape mentally and physically. And again, depending on where you are in your life, at 63, I have no regrets. I've had a great life. I have a great life, but my life today is very different than it used to be. People will say, "Oh, what did you do over the weekend?" I do the exact same thing every weekend. I work and I work out. That's it. It very rarely ever changes. And that's because those things bring me joy. I couldn't imagine not being here doing this, and I couldn't imagine not being at the gym. So I hope that each and every person finds one or two things that they are so passionate about that's what you can spend the rest of your time. It's a gift. Why not do what you feel is a gift for you in your life? So thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. And it will be nice for us, for our subscribers, to subscribe to your channel, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck's channel, and to USA Global and TV channel. So thank you very much for watching this show. And I hope you did learn from this amazing show, because Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck has a lot of knowledge when it comes to this issue. So thank you, and have a great week. Namaste.
Hey, you. Psst. Yes, you. Watching this right now. Are you creating content, a blog, a podcast, a newsletter, going live on Instagram or TikTok, and still not seeing real visibility or growth? Here's why. Anyone can post, anyone can go live, but not everyone is positioned to be taken seriously. Right now, people are going to YouTube to search for experts, for answers, for credibility. So while you're putting in the work, someone else is being seen as the authority. Not because they know more, because they're positioned better. Now imagine this. Your own professionally produced TV show, marketed, distributed, optimized with SEO so people can actually find you. Not just seen, but searchable, discoverable, positioned. You're trained, you're coached, you're guided. No experience necessary, but you do have to be coachable, because this is about stepping into a higher level. This isn't about doing more, it's about doing it right. We've already built the platform, 2 YouTube channels, a global audience, a Silver Creator Award. So the question is, how much longer are you going to rely on temporary visibility when you could be building real authority? If you're ready to be seen differently, go to usaglobaltv.com and apply to host your own show. This is for individuals who are serious about investing in their visibility, their credibility, and their growth. If that's you, we're ready. USA Global TV and Radio, where your voice becomes your platform. Executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Videographer, Paul Garcia. Voiceover, Ed Vargas. All rights reserved. This production is the exclusive property of the USA Global TV and Radio and may not be reproduced, distributed, or used without written permission.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.